Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Sage and Whiskey podcast. I'm your host, Nataly Lorraine. Welcome to a new week, and I'm excited to get back to you guys. I took a week off because of all the stuff in this news and things like that. I just needed some time to gather myself, but I'm back now. So, I'm going to jump right into your tarot reading. I pulled four cards today, two oracle cards from my Sacred Earth Oracle deck. The first one is the Surface card. And with this card is always telling you about not seeing things just for surface value and digging deeper. So this week I want you to dig deeper into those feelings or relationships that you have in your life and see if there's anything under the surface that needs to be resolved and for you to bring forth and work towards resolving it. It is clarified by the Hierophant card, so that also speaks about seeking guidance and counseling from people. So those two go together great. Okay? So then I have the balance card, which for me always makes me think of the Libra card of being balance of heart and mind. And it's also clarified by the Queen of Cups. It seems like this is a week about getting back to a balanced version of yourself. A lot of things are going on in the world right now, and a lot of people are imbalanced. They don't even realize it. They have a lot of things boiling underneath themselves. I would suggest for a lot of us to seek counseling, not just this week, but especially this week. We have a new moon in Cancer, an eclipse in Cancer this weekend. So a lot of things are going to come to grips or come up with your emotions, especially with relationships. Okay? So this with yourself and with others. This is a good time to make those appointments, talk to those health professionals, journal, have those self-care moments. Do what you need to do to balance yourself out because this summer is going to be great and we need people with their heart and mind in one piece. All right. I'm going to hop into the next subject, which is your witch tip. Now, this week's witch tip is something that is so simple that sometimes I even forget to do this. When it comes to saging in your altars, make sure that you're keeping them clean. And I think I touched based on this a couple episodes ago, but I wanted to come back and reiterate that. Especially since we are now in summer and we're switching to a new season, it is important to make improve on the last season of your life or the last season to make sure that we are progressing and getting better at everything that we do. When it comes to being a practitioner, sometimes life will get in the way and we will fall by the wayside for our magical things. I know for myself, I've leaned more into my magical stuff, especially during these times where I'm needing to do a lot of things for the collective, but make sure that your altars are clean. Make sure you're wiping them down. Make sure you're changing out your water. Make sure your offering cups are clean. Make sure the environment around it is organized and neat. Just think of about it just like how people talk about a cluttered house is a cluttered mind. The same thing goes for your altars and things like that. If it's cluttered, that is going to impact the magic that you're trying to do. One for your own personal magic, and then the magic that you're asking, the assistance that you're asking for from your deities and ancestors, because it's a respect thing. If you can't respect them enough to make sure that you are keeping their area clean and replenished, then you're basically saying that you don't respect the relationship enough for to get them their help. So it's give and take, it's a balance. The second thing is that I want you all to make sure that you are having a routine with your magic to make sure that you are dedicating time to your altars and to your spiritual work, whether that may be internal work like working with your chakras, or if that's external work with your spells and your offerings to your deities. Make sure, if you do not have a system set up, set it up. It's not doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of the information is online about if you have certain deities that have their days and what they like. And also, you don't have to do that. You can, once you refer, once you have a good understanding with this deity or ancestor, then they will tell you what they want. Okay? They will definitely tell you what they want. And then you can get those things and make sure that you do it from a good place. I know a lot of times when people are getting into these type of spiritualities, they do things out of autopilot and not out of consciousness, because this life is not for everyone. And a lot of times you are asked to do these things by these deities because there is a specific purpose in your life for this work. And so it's an honor for you to have these relationships with them, and vice versa. Okay? Well, it's not an honor for them to have a relationship with you, but it's a mutual respect. So I guess it goes back and forth. Okay? So make sure that you are doing your part with that, and that will keep you balanced. This whole week is about balance of the heart and the mind. Those are two. Your mind is like your meticulation, your schedules, and things like that. Your heart deals with just being balanced, emotionally balanced, and spiritually balanced. I don't have a lot more with that. And with also being said, be careful who you share your information about what you're doing in this field too. Especially now where these are becoming more popular. You're going to have people that are a little bit more advanced than you, or um, and not wish you well. So when they find out that you're experimenting, they may try to complicate your life, telling other people that doesn't need to know about what you're doing, and that can possibly hinder what you're trying to do in your current life. That's not always the case, but I feel like things are a lot more magical when you keep them to yourselves, or you tell them to people who are qualified and understand what you're going through. So this week, just replenish your altars, clean your altars, just make sure that you have everything together and that you're forming a routine so that you can progress with your magic and be and get all the things that you're asking for. All right. Now I'm going to move to the media spotlight, which I have two things. I am just baffled by the season premiere of Insecure. So it's a two-part. If you have not watched it, sorry, it's a spoiler. I would hope by the time I upload this, you have watched it, because it'll be a few days. But I just am upset with this ending. I'm excited for the season, that another season has been completed, but I'm disappointed in the storyline. Basically, the spoilers, Molly and Andrew seemingly break up. Not really disappointed with that. To be quite honest, I just didn't think they were right for each other to begin with. I think Molly needs to do a lot of growing to do, and I do think that she prefers to be with someone of the same race, ethnicity as she is. So I think that she's going to have to do some more work spiritually, and with with herself and her other relationships, before she can attract that partner that fits her on the level that she's looking for. But the most I was kind of not even really phased by the Amanda Seals or Tiffany's character having postpartum and getting missing. What I did, what was a little gem for it, was her husband. I have a new respect for the person who plays Derek's character because he doesn't get a lot of acting. A lot of times the scenes that he has are very surface and he's just playing uh he's the voice of reason, but he doesn't have a lot of in-depth scenes that allows him to show real emotion. A lot of times they just have conversations where they're just shooting the shit, so to speak. So it was really nice to see him have this scene where he's showing how it is to be in a partnership and have the other person be going through something that you cannot control, even though you feel like you've done so much to try to help this person, but sometimes things are just so internal that there's nothing you can do. I loved him in the scene. I love this relationship. I'm hoping that we will can dig in more next season with how they met, because I'm still not 100% convinced that that's his baby, but whatever. I want her to get better. I'm glad they're touching up on postpartum because that's something that a lot of women go through, especially black women, with that whole strong, I can do everything, I need to be everything for everyone all the time. So it was nice to see that she had some vulnerability there, and we can have this bigger discussion about mental health as a whole. And Lawrence and Issa. I actually have not been on the Lawrence and Issa train. I feel like they have gotten to a place where they could work, but they shouldn't work. I know that sounds weird. Sometimes you should not just go back to people. And I'm a little disappointed with them doing this whole. If you watch the game when Melanie and Derwin, they had a break baby with the girl, I believe her name was Janae. I was hoping they didn't do that. A lot of people were speculating that Condola was pregnant, but we were all like, nah, Insecure is not going to do that. Like, that whole scene is played out. That whole script, that, you know, storyline is played out. They're going to do something different. I was really just looking forward to Lawrence. I knew he was going to get the job. I knew he was going to get the job in San Francisco. San Francisco. Was looking forward to him just moving and them maneuvering whether they can do a long distance relationship. I mean, she did say at the beginning that she was open to it and even open to moving. I would have liked to see that. I would have rather have seen that happen because a lot of people, I have been in long distance relationships and they can be very tough. Now they're still in the same state, so that's a little different, but you'd be surprised. If the person doesn't live within an hour, it can change everything. And she was talking about this is going to be a flight. So even though it's a 45-minute flight, it's still a flight. That means money and where you're going to stay and all this stuff. These things you're going to have to plan. Your weekends, you're going to have to plan that around going to see your significant other. But of course not. Condola is pregnant, which I'm confused because the way she seems so uptight all the time, I didn't think that she was going to be careless. I don't know if they weren't using condoms. I don't know if her birth control failed. I don't know what happened. And I kind of wish we would have known what happened, but I guess it doesn't really matter because the end result was going to be the same, that there was going to be a pregnancy. I definitely felt for Condola when she decided to that she wanted to keep the baby. She is a woman in her 30s, and as a woman that will be turning 30 soon, this the 30s has this ticking time clock for a lot of women who want to have children. And you kind of think, if I don't do it now, will it ever come? Now, I'm sure Condola, she seems like she has everything put together. This is definitely not an ideal situation, but I get it when she said she wasn't ready with kids with her ex-husband, and now she's at a stage in her life that she is. And I can speak for myself. I'm definitely in that particular mental space now. Granted, I would love for that child to be in a committed relationship and be married and stuff like that. But I try not to date people that I don't see that potential with, to kind of down to diminish all the messiness. But I know for me now at 30, if I were to get pregnant tomorrow, I would probably be in the same position. Like, well, we gonna rock this thing out. So I definitely get that. And Condola is way more established than I am. So, and she definitely seemed like she has the finances. She probably has good health insurance. Lawrence is a good guy. Like it, it's gonna work out. Even if they're not together, this child will have a sufficient upbringing and support system from Lawrence's friends, I'm sure, probably family, and also on Condola's side, her friends and family. So I get that decision. However, I know she has to know that she's making the relationship between Issa and Lawrence more complicated, which is really none of her. It's really not none of her concern at this point. I guess because her focus is on herself and her child to be, or child to be. Yeah, I guess we can call it that. But I think Lawrence will probably end up trying to be with Condola. He gives me that I want to do the right thing type of vibes, but we will see. But the best part of this episode, honestly, was the fact that Molly and Issa finally came together and seemingly talked about what was going on with their relationship. They didn't give us any information on what happened. We're gonna have to wait a whole nother year. I'm hoping by 2021 everything has calmed down with all the stuff that's happening in the United States right now, really the whole world, and that would be something that we can look forward to. But I like that Molly finally decided to put her pride aside and contact Issa to get to the bottom of what's going on with the relationship. I don't know. I know a lot of people, I've listened to a couple of reviews already, and people are saying that they think that this is a trauma bond. I can definitely see that side of it, but I feel because Molly and Issa have known each other for so long, I think they have more. I'm giving their relationship more credit than they've given it. A lot of people have given it, even though they didn't give us a whole bunch of backstory. I would hope that a person that's been in your life for 10, almost 10 years or a little bit over 10 years, that you are not trauma bonded, and if you were, you can find a way to break through that trauma and rebuild a healthier relationship. I want to see this friendship work. I broke up with a friend of 10 plus years, and it was not easy, and it was just the end of that relationship. So when you see that on screen, you kind of want it to work. But I would love to hear the conversation. If both of them are not in the right mental place, and it seems that they are still coming from that place of their old selves, then I won't root for them. But I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that this will be the start of a beautiful new chapter of their friendship, especially since they are all needing, all of them, Tiffany, Molly, Issa, and Kelly, are going to need each other. This new chapter. So that's my Insecure wrap up. I was a little disappointed, but still happy with some things. And I can't wait to see what they do with next. Now, this next media spotlight is a movie I decided to watch. Ah, I didn't expect to watch this movie. I got a little thriller or scary movie, what you call it, mood, and I decided to watch Chucky, the old Chucky Child's Play, and I forgot the name of the second one. So I just happened to was scrolling through something on Hulu, and I did not know that they remade Chucky. Now I don't know if this is. I need to go back and see who it made it, like who the production company was. But they have a new Chucky that came out. They remade Child's Play in 2019. I don't know how I missed this. I know I was in Mexico and I was, between here, Louisiana, North Carolina, Louisiana, and Mexico last year, but I think I would have. I definitely always had Hulu, no matter where I was. I had my little VPN even overseas. I don't remember seeing Chucky pop up, but maybe I wasn't looking for it. However, I want to say this new Chucky, he's creepy. So the original Chucky's don't really They don't. The original Chucky doesn't scare me. I find him more humorous than anything else. I know he's supposed, but he looks like a cute doll, so it's kind of funny that they make him, possessed and whatnot. Now, this new Chucky, he's not cute. He's just creepy. He looks like an alien. They dropped out of a spaceship. I don't know who decided to make him this way, but kudos to you because you definitely changed the whole aesthetic of the Chucky doll. But I like it in a good way. So he looks creepy. And he's not possessed. The whole original Chucky was that the Chucky doll was possessed by a serial killer. They took all that out, probably because it didn't make sense when they did in the first one, honestly. I look at it from a practitioner standpoint, I'm like, what? What is this? What is he saying? He's not. None of this stuff is even in the. They just put a whole bunch of stuff together. I hate when people they didn't do their proper research for that. So I like that they took that component out of it because he could still be a creepy doll without him being possessed by a serial killer. So basically, and this one, a spoiler alert, it still doesn't shouldn't stop you from watching the movie. Basically, he's not possessed this time. He's just the person who made the doll decided to go rogue and take out all of his safety protocols that makes him act normal, because this one is in 2019. Everything's hooked up to Bluetooth. It can talk, it can walk, and this, that, and the third. So basically, the person takes all the safety protocols on. So he's like a rogue robot essentially, and he does what he does in all the other movies, terrorizes people and this, that, and the third. But he's creepy in this one. I didn't laugh nearly as much as I did in the other one. This new Chucky, old Chucky, I might try to reason with him. At least I was dealing with a real person, even though he was a serial killer. New Chucky is a rogue robot. He doesn't have no human emotions. He's only picking up what he sees. It reminds me of like that Disney movie where the house was alive and it kind of went rogue. It's like our worst nightmare because of all these technology things that we're building. It is so probable for AI to turn on us. And there's been a couple movies, I believe. I think Will Smith was in a movie like that. There was another one as well. I can't remember. It won't come to mind right now. But yeah, that's a very real, plausible plot. And I think that's what adds to the scariness. I like when people put something that can actually happen on the screen in a way that's believable. That adds to it a lot. So those are my two. Those are not even related. One is a TV show, one is a movie, but that's what I watched this week. And sometimes you need a little bit of drama and a little bit of horror. So that's all I have for the media spotlight this week. Lastly, I have our little whiskey spotlight. I finally picked up a rye. I went and got Jack Daniels Tennessee. It's a Tennessee whiskey. I'm not the biggest fan of Jack Daniels. I'm, like I said, my go-to when I go to the bar if I'm getting a cheaper whiskey is Jameson or Jemison, or Knobs Creek if I'm getting my Manhattan. But you're supposed to make Manhattans with rye. I have not been making them a couple weeks in a row. Well, yeah, 2 weeks in a row now. This might be week 3. I can't remember. These days and weeks be going by so fast. I don't know if I'm coming or going half the time. But I got that when it was on sale. It was like $23. I think it was a big sale. Normally when they have little sales, it's like $5. I think this was like a little bit more than a $5 discount. It caught my eye. Was not really even wanting to be in a liquor store, and I picked that up. I like it. I see the edginess. I've had rye before, but that's normally when I buy whiskey for my house. I just buy a typical whiskey, so I forgot what the differences were. I know when I was reading making Manhattans, the rye whiskey gives it like a punch, like a spice flavor to it. It definitely does. I definitely noticed a difference. I don't know if I will buy rye all the time because by itself, I just rather get a higher proof whiskey if I'm gonna sip on it or mix it with club soda like I normally do. Like to keep it simple. But with the Manhattan, I definitely noticed the bite and the spiciness that the rye gives it. And then I was not even so I was trying to save money, but saving money in liquor stores sometimes hard because I was like, I'm gonna get a bottle under $25. I'm gonna be in and out. I already have everything else to make the Manhattan. I think I need to re up on my cherries, but my vermouth and my bitters are going to last a long time. So, if you do like Manhattans, the setup to get yourself started, the most thing that you're probably going to be buying a lot frequently is the whiskey because you need 2 ounces of it, and everything else you don't use, an ounce, half ounce, and of the other ingredients, so they last a lot longer. So, I was when Manhattan normally has, the bitters. It has 2 bitters, orange bitter and the I always say that wrong. Angostura bitters. So I didn't go I was going to go get orange bitters, but I got lazy because the liquor store and then going to other stores, I didn't feel like it. It's hot. I don't like running errands on the weekends. I like to relax because I work during the week. So I was like, well, I can. Let me see if I can. Since I'm already in the liquor store, there's orange liqueurs everywhere. So I was thinking about using triple sec as a orange to replace the orange bitter, so I wouldn't have to go to another store. But I thought about it. I'm like, what's something I was like triple sec. I don't know. I mean, it can work, but I'm not gonna use triple sec in a lot of other things. So I like to buy things that can be multi-purpose. So I looked and looked and looked, and Grand Marnier popped up in this aisle because it's an orange liqueur, but it's made with cognac. So I'm like, this could work because I can drink this by itself and add it to other things and to my Manhattan, so it's not just made for this one drink and it's just sitting there collecting dust. So I got that, and when I say I like this little addition. So basically, I make the Manhattan the same way I would normally make it, but instead of the dashes of orange bitters, I replace it with a Grand Marnier. So I kind of gave it a half ounce, if that. I wasn't fully measuring because I didn't want to put a whole lot. I think I did a tablespoon of it or something like that when I did measure because I made a couple drinks over the weekend. But so, with the Manhattan, it's 2 ounces of your rye whiskey, a half ounce of sweet vermouth, a cup, 2 dashes of the bitter, and I add a little bit of cherry juice in there because I didn't want to have the cherries. I wanted the cherries and the juice to go down at the same point because the point to use all the cherries out of it and have a whole container of cherry juice. Like I said, I'm a minimalist. Everything is dual purpose. So, and then I did, yeah, so 2 ounces of whiskey, half ounce of sweet vermouth, 2 dashes of the bitter, half ounce or tablespoon or whatever, just a little bit of the Grand Marnier, and that slaps. And I have a newfound love for Grand Marnier because I don't really drink cognac, and Grand Marnier is a liqueur. It's sweet, so I normally stayed away from it. But I think this might be a new multi-purpose liqueur that I would keep around. Last couple weeks ago, I had the Amaretto. I try a different liqueur and try to find a way to incorporate it into my whiskeys or drinks that I make because they're normally cheaper. And since I know I'm not going to drink them on a regular basis, they'll last a lot longer. Just give a little bit complexity to my drinks. But the Grand Marnier, I actually can drink it by itself. I drink it by itself. I drink it with orange juice. Drink it by itself straight. I had it with orange juice, and I had it with adding club soda to kind of balance out the sweetness. All of them slap. So Grand Marnier is going to be something that I definitely keep in my little liquor closet or whatever you want to call it for the weeks to come. So that is all I have for you this week. I hope that you enjoyed it. Once again, if you want to be featured on my podcast, definitely email me at niashayhealing at gmail.com. Please add me on Instagram, NIAESHE, and of course Nia Shea Healing on Facebook. I am not really doing readings as much at this time because I need to reserve my energy for the spell work that I'm doing for the collective to help with this cosmic shift right now. But if you need a reading, my website is still up. I just have less availability than I did before because I want to reserve most of my energy for my own personal work and the work for the collective. But if you need it, I'm there. So thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Bye.